Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. Now, I said in a separate video that I was tempted to pick Tyson Fury ahead of the first fight with Usyk, but I changed my mind after the pullout in February. It wasn't just the fact that Fury pulled out that made me change my mind. It was also reevaluating his behavior at the kickoff press conference and subsequent behavior after the fight was rescheduled. To me, he didn't look in the right place mentally to beat Alexander Usyk. And I'm not saying he was having mental health issues. I'm just talking about the mindset necessary to beat such an elite fighter. You can't do it with intimidation, trickery, con artistry, mind games, and all this type of stuff. You can't do it like that. You have to approach the fight with a more pure and honest intent. And in the run-up to that first fight, I was only seeing the exact opposite from Fury. I was seeing all these desperate moves. To me, they just seemed desperate, right? Including on fight week, having his dad, John Fury, running around trying to bully everybody. And it was so symbolic. It was like a portent of doom for Tyson Fury when John, in cowardly fashion, targeted the smallest member of Team Usyk, who was away from the rest of the team, and headbutted him. But John came off second best and he was bleeding while the member of Team Usyk was not. That was like a bad omen for Fury as far as I was concerned. That was the absolute decisive thing for me when it came to the prediction that I made for the fight. I picked Usyk to win on points. That's what happened. And I specifically said all along that Fury would do a lot of showboating in the fight to try and trick the commentators and trick the audience into thinking he was doing better than he actually was, particularly early. But I said he would suffer a crisis in the fight around round 8 or round 9, which would take the form of either a knockdown or a cut. I said this in multiple videos before the first fight. They're still up. Now, in my original prediction, which was before the pullout, I thought that Fury would respond positively to the crisis. He would jump on Usyk and he would get the victory down the stretch. But after the pullout, I said, no, I don't think Fury's in that kind of mindset to get the job done that way. And I figured that after the crisis, Fury will not get the job done down the stretch. I still thought he'd be pressuring Usyk, and that was the part of my prediction which wasn't 100% accurate because it was actually Usyk applying pressure even more so after Fury's crisis moment. Nevertheless, I got the prediction right in terms of the result, Usyk on points. And so let me be very frank with you again here. I was tempted to pick Tyson Fury to win this rematch, particularly a heavier Tyson Fury, not ridiculously overweight and not heavier because he's done less training. No, heavier because he needs the extra strength to fight a more physical contest. Heavier because he intends to be more aggressive. Heavier because he intends to throw quality rather than quantity of punches and therefore dictate the pace of the fight. I've been very tempted to pick Tyson Fury to win this one. But once again, as before the first fight, Tyson Fury's behavior has managed to discourage me from doing so. So for example, last time, Tyson Fury was clutching at straws. I'm going to describe it that way. He was clutching at straws by saying, if you look back through boxing history, a good big man always beats a good little man. Whenever these cruiserweights move up to heavyweight and take on the real elite big guys, they always lose. Of course, that's not true, but that's what Tyson Fury wanted to hold on to give him confidence going up against Usyk. Didn't work. And here's the key point. You never heard Usyk saying any stuff like this, did you? To try and give himself confidence. It was only Fury saying all this type of stuff. So for the first fight, he's saying, good big man always beats a good little man. History always shows it. Not true, but that's what he was saying. And this time, ahead of the rematch, he's saying, I always do great in rematches. This is the mental crutch he's going for the second time. I always do great in rematches. Rematches against who? I shouldn't need to point out how redundant those comparisons are. They don't have the style, the southpaw stance, the adaptability, the boxing brain, the pedigree, the conditioning, anything. Totally different. But that's what Fury feels like he needs to tell himself and tell the media and tell the public. I always do great in rematches, therefore I'm going to win this one. Also, last time Tyson Fury used over-the-top intimidation tactics to try and give himself an edge against Usyk. You guys remember the kickoff press conference? I've never seen Tyson Fury so aggressive as he was then. To me, he looked like a desperate man. And upon reflection, I thought, no, I can't pick a guy who seems this desperate. And not desperate to win in a good way, but desperate to use mind games and intimidation to try and give himself an edge. So that's what he did last time. Again, I've already spoken about his dad getting involved and all that kind of thing. Well, this time, Tyson Fury is trying to influence the media, specifically the broadcaster, DAZN, to be biased in his favor or more biased in his favor than they were last time. as far as their commentary. He did an interview with Chris Mannix where he was basically telling Mannix, who was already biased in favor of Fury, he was basically saying that Mannix wasn't biased enough. Make sure you count every punch, Mannix. Words to that effect is what Tyson Fury said. What are you talking about? Count every punch. If he was counting every punch, he wouldn't have had Fury 5 rounds to 1 up after 6. He would have had it 3-3. At worst, 4-2. But 5-1? I mean, talk about pro-Fury bias. And it isn't necessarily that Mannix was consciously intending to be biased, but maybe he got taken in by Fury showboating. So many people did. Showboating conveys confidence and it distracts the audience from the good punches that Usyk is landing. Anyway, that's what Fury's doing this time around. He's trying to pressure the zone, the pundits, the commentators, and what have you, into skewing public perception such that they think that Fury's doing better than he actually is. If you have to resort to doing that, I can't pick you to beat Usyk in the rematch. And here's another thing. Last time, Fury came in at his lightest weight for 5 years. Yet his team claimed that he wasn't fit enough, despite the fact he did 2 camps for the first fight. Now for this camp, he was heavy at the kickoff press conference 2 months ago. Then he goes into training, but the media are not allowed access. They're allowed access to Usyk's camp, but Fury shuts the media out. Meanwhile, he's putting out images of him in training camp looking heavy. He's also sending his little lackey Gareth A. Davis out to tell people he's going to come in heavier for the rematch. But then he turns up on fight week and he looks light to me. So he's still, it would seem, trying the mind games, hoping that Usyk takes his foot off the gas because he thinks Fury's going to come in heavy. But again, to me, that just seems like an act of desperation on Fury's part. Furthermore, I have to estimate that Fury might have lost something like 20 pounds in the last 8 weeks. And at 36 years of age, folks, that's going to take a toll on you. Much better if you lose that 20 pounds over a longer period of time. It's not going to deplete you as much. And finally, last time, Fury was going into the fight claiming he's going to destroy this little middleweight, this little rabbit. He's going to beat him up and knock him out. Yet when he gets in the ring, this little rabbit is walking him down and beating him up. For the whole 12 rounds, Fury was on the back foot. This time, Fury says he's not going to change anything other than just be a bit more focused and do less showboating. Yet and still, the showboating actually helped him. This narrative that the showboating somehow worked against Fury is absolute nonsense. From a psychological perspective, in terms of its impact on the audience, it's one of the best things he did in the first fight. Again, because it conveys this confidence. It conveys a sense of being in control. When you're showboating and you're doing this, that, and the other, while your opponent looks all serious, it's all psychology. Long story short, in order for me to be confident enough to pick him to win, I would want to see him going into this fight with a more pure and honest intent. Forget the mind games. Forget trying to pressurize the media to be biased in your favor. Forget claiming that you got jobbed on the cards the first time. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Man's acting like he got jobbed on the cards, which is completely at odds with the punch stats for the fight and what actually took place in the ring. If you can get over Fury's showboating, which a lot of people can't, and just focus on the actual punches being landed, just look at the jabber stats. They accurately reflect the fact that Alexander Usyk legitimately won the fight. Even without the knockdown, he won the fight in terms of punch stats. But yet Fury's running around talking about he got jobbed on the cards and Usyk only won 3 rounds. I mean, what absolute ridiculous nonsense. The irony is he kind of reminds me of Deontay Wilder in the run-up to his trilogy fight with Fury, where he was totally delusional and he thought the world was against him and they'd somehow jobbed him out of the second fight with Fury. I mean, just unbelievable. Fury hasn't gone quite that extreme, but he's gone down a similar path in terms of his psychological response to defeat. And as far as I can see, that does not bode well for him. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Leave yours in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video. It really helps with visibility for the channel. Share it as well. Sharing is caring. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Are you surrounded by mindless bots in human form who adhere to the norm and blindly conform? Who swallow all the mainstream BS and actually ridicule you for questioning things? Do you wish you had more free-thinking individuals in your life to network and converse with? Well, look no further. We're right here. Come and join the Brotherhood of Reason on Patreon. You'll gain access to my weekly topical content where we take deep dives on an endless variety of subjects, as well as my vast back catalogue of podcasts, videos, interviews, movie decodings, and my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You'll also get to talk and network with myself and hundreds of other people in our members chat. You can enjoy all this via the Patreon app or on desktop and download all my podcasts in high quality MP3. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store, or simply visit patreon.com on a web browser. Then head on over to my page and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android, because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.